Okay, finally the tart case is cooled. I've took it out of the container. It's a 10-inch fluted loose bottom tin, and the reason we take it out of the container, or I do personally, is when it's still warm. I like to let the any steam, any moisture which is still in the pastry that's trapped on the base, allow that to escape on a cooling rack. That again is just another insurance policy to stop anything becoming soggy. So we kind of look at any kind of moisture getting into the base is what's going to give us the soggy bottom, basically. So anything we can do, and it's not usually just one thing, it's multiple things that make a difference. Obviously, you make sure it's cooked first. You make sure, like I say, you've pricked it and everything else. You make sure you put a barrier there if you're putting liquid in there, and just all the things that I've mentioned, to be fair. But yeah, it's a 10-inch fluted tin that I've used with a loose bottom. So that's kind of that's where we're at with that. So the only thing I'm going to point out at this juncture is this is the first time I've ever made a Manchester tart. So in theory, you know, it's just individual components that I'm putting together. Like, I've made one of these, I've made custard, I've made jam. So the jam that I'm using is a homemade jam. However, what I haven't done is quantities in filling the tart. So up to this point, I don't really know how it's going to be quantity wise, whether it's going to be just enough or short, because I like things to be full to the top. That's all part of what makes it, the aesthetics that makes it look good. So without further ado, you would normally use raspberry seedless jam. However, I haven't got any raspberry seed. I thought I had. I haven't. So during the summer, when blackberries were a thing, I went out and I picked some blackberries and I made some blackberry jam, which I've, you might say that doesn't look too jammy. No, it doesn't, because I've mixed it and I've de-seeded the jam. So it's made it a little bit more liquid because it's kind of been re-agitated. Obviously it sets as it is. I've mixed it back up, which makes it also spreadable, which is what we want. So we're going to do it now. So I'm going to put a few tablespoons of our blackberry jam into the base. I don't want to overdo it because we don't want it over sweet, but I just want to make sure we get a layer of the jam. So actually what I should have done, and it would have been better, let's just take it off the case, off the rack, put it on a board, and I should have done that first. And what you do then is you've made it stable, because it will slide around on that cooling rack. So yeah, all we're going to do is just like a bit of love into it, not too thick, but we just a layer of jam on the base, and let's get it all into the corners. As though, you know, sometimes I hear this with chefs and what have you, oh, it doesn't really matter, you don't see it. Well, to a point, you know, that's true. But, and it is, and you think, you know, life's too short, and I've heard all of those things. But again, just going back to my ethos, is obviously I like to do everything I can from scratch, which you probably say, oh, well, you could have made your tortilla, couldn't you? Well, I could have, I didn't. It's all about balance, isn't it? I mean, I can make them, I've done them, but today I didn't. So, but today I made my own Manchester tart. Well, we'll see whether it works or not. So that's the jam element in. I don't want to put any more than that in. So our next element is going to be our custard. So we put that cling film on to stop the skin forming on the top, but it has thickened up, which I knew it would. So all we're going to do now is I'm going to get rid of the whisk because I don't need that, is I want to put that in there. Now this is the bit I'm not worried about, because it doesn't really matter that much. I'm not serving it to anyone. I don't think that, well, I'm not sure whether there's going to be enough. So let's get it in and let's just try. Let's just get it in there on top of the jam. And what I want to try to do as much as possible is just to pre-spread it actually with I know for a fact there's not enough. So what I am going to do, because I've gone to all this bother today to do that, so I'm going to spread this layer on and see where we're at, because I actually think we're going to need the same amount again to go over the top. So I'm just using the dough scraper, because it makes a really good spreading tool as well as dough scraping tool. So I can tell you right now that that's not enough, and I was concerned about. And you know what? Before I came back on, I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a backup custard there and have it there. So if it doesn't look like there's enough, I can just add that to it. But I didn't, and I should have. I should have gone with my instinct. So I've never made this before. So we've made 500 grams worth of custard on the base. We need to double that, at least double that. So I'm gonna now, because that's still warm, I'm gonna just cover that with a slight bit of cling film, and I'm gonna top it up with custard. Exactly the same recipe, exactly the same, no different. And I'll have to wait till it cools a little bit before I top it up. It doesn't actually matter. It can cool in there. It's no problem at all. Now we've already semi-started building it. But like I say, I've never done this before, and I did do a little bit of reference looking online of how much things, but clearly it was nowhere near. So I'm going to knock up another batch now, stick that on, and I'll come to you at the very end when I put the coconut on, and we'll have a little look what it looks like then. Like I said, we adapt, we move on. So these are problems we've had. Like I say, I know for future, because, well, this is the first time I've made it, but I know for future, right, at least double the amount of custard which is going in there. I'll make a bit more. So what I'll do is I'll make another like 1.5 batches to make sure it's properly full, sprinkle it over, and then I can put the exact amounts on recipe wise on the thing. But this is all part of the learning. This is the whole point of Jason's Kitchen. This is what it's about. It's the journey of, right, we're doing something, what do? We haven't got enough. Oh, right, well, we'll just, let's adapt, let's move on, let's fix it. There's nothing lost. And that bit, like I say, is cooling in anyway, so it's not really going to form a skin, and it won't take me long, because I won't be waffling to knock up some more custard. So in the meantime, I better stop doing this, because it'll be even less than I want to. So I'll make a batch and a half now. I'll come back and we'll top it up and get the coconut on, and job will be a good one. So see you soon.